Hello and welcome to episode 7 now of Cryptenomics. It's my favorite part of the day where I just chill, have a beer with Aaron, and we chat about crypto.
Oh, yeah.
Today we'll be discussing different projects that we're looking at, not necessarily strictly coin projects, but especially since we happen to be a bit more business oriented in the industry, we figured we would take a look at some of those projects and how it's helping the ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Before diving into it, just to chat about crypto, it's worth bringing up the Verge Pornhub partnership.
Yeah, this is what we talked about a couple weeks ago, and it was a big secret. And I'm going to be honest, I'm a little bit frustrated with how legit this partnership is because I don't like Verge. That's no secret. But this partnership could be big for crypto in general.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who's paying for free porn nowadays, but if you want to use it, yeah, I think it's a little overhyped is what I'm getting at. I don't know how many people really pay for porn.
I have no idea. I know it's a wildly lucrative business, but that could be all from ads.
But good for Verge, good for you holders. I'll give you credit where it's due. I still don't like Verge. I still don't like how they came into the limelight. But, good for you. As they said on the Pornhub site, the future has come.
It's here now.
You can take that in many ways as you want, but the future has come. So yeah, let's dive in. Me and Aaron have been, we're co-founders of a company called Tradedash, and since we're in the industry, we're very conscious of other projects in the space that aren't necessarily direct competitors, but just in the ecosystem that we may be working with in the future or not, and we just like to keep up with the industry.
Yeah.
So we picked a few projects that are cool, that are good, and we'll talk about them in an unbiased manner as best we can.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So let's see. And I'll be linking the projects in the description so you guys can read up more about them since we're not doing any really screen sharing right now or diving in. So one of them that I've been watching that I introduced Aaron to is called Blockchain Terminal.
Yep.
BCT. So Blockchain Terminal caught my eye because it's really the first institutional grade trading platform. I think that's even the wording they use on their website.
Yeah.
And that's quite literally what it is. And that's really huge for all of us involved in crypto. One major headache in the crypto space is that, all these institutional investors are very reluctant to enter the crypto market because they have no reliable software and solution that can help them trade on different exchanges. And a lot of viewers who maybe have never worked in the traditional financial sector, especially with hedge funds and prime brokers and in that space, don't really understand the workflow of what trading is. Right? It's interesting.
I was very unfamiliar with, and still remain relatively new to the real workflow that institutional traders use and go through it on a daily basis. So I've learned a lot for sure. But you've opened my eyes to things that I never really understood or imagined were going on behind the scenes. So I definitely see, the need there for the crypto market.
The workflow is different. I mean, when you and me, and I'm sure the average viewer goes to trade on Bittrex, we're hitting a buy or, button that says buy and we buy, and we hit sell and we sell. And at the basic level, obviously that is what these guys are doing. They're buying and selling. But I'll quickly, I guess, walk us through a quick workflow of what you would see in a hedge fund, right?
Yeah, I think that'd be helpful.
So first off, what is a hedge fund? And also this platform isn't just for hedge funds. It could be for other fund of funds and other type of kind of investment vehicles and firms, but we'll just use a hedge fund because that's a very big example. So first off, what is a hedge fund? A hedge fund is just a pooled investment vehicle for high net worth individuals. So let's say you're wealthy enough where you say, I have $2 million, but I don't want to put it in, a low risk, mutual fund. Maybe you have enough money where you have $2 million that you're willing to risk and you want a better return. So you go to a hedge fund because hedge funds are allowed to do things like shorting, trading on margin, do basically anything they want and make any investment decision for higher returns, whereas mutual funds are very limited to doing, really minimizing risk as much as possible. So a hedge fund has multiple accounts, and they generally have many employees. So there's usually a portfolio manager who's really in charge of making sure that their portfolio is profiting. Then there's actual individual traders who are told what to buy or sell from the portfolio managers sometimes who place the orders, or they have a relationship with a broker to get good prices in the market. And then there's also financial analysts that they hire that, are watching the different risk values of the market, what they should buy, how the current portfolio is doing, how they can hedge their risk, how if they should be short in something because they're long in something else, and they see that those markets generally are opposite of each other, many different things. Now, when you're at a hedge fund and they're using a system like Advent software or maybe even interactive brokers and some other large piece of software, there's roles associated, right? So the portfolio manager should be able to do things that the trader cannot, or maybe certain traders are in charge of certain accounts that you only want them to be able to see. Maybe analysts are only able to see certain types of data, but they're not allowed to buy or sell. So setting up all of these roles is one example of something that Blockchain Terminal is doing, that other pieces of software are doing, that fits in with the workflow of how a hedge fund operates. I think that's pretty big.
Yeah, definitely.
Another example is compliance, right? So you as an investor investing in a hedge fund might say, I only want my funds to go towards stocks that are green. I don't want to deal with any oil companies. They can object to that and say that's not, in our strategy, and that's not, what we do. But they can also say, sure, we will. To do that, you have to understand when you allocate trades, allocation is another thing that they do. When you allocate trades to different investor accounts to represent to them how their money is doing, even though in reality it's all just one pooled fund, they have to understand in real time in compliance if they're buying too many shares of something that's not meeting investor demands. That makes sense. So they do compliance. They have these workflows built in. And then also what I found interesting about them is they actually created a third-party app ecosystem. So basically they created a front-end store marketplace for these hedge funds for front, middle, and back office. Back office being maybe reconciliation and analytics types of things, and then the front office being more live trading. And you can integrate your third-party apps in there and actually use those tools to help monitor your portfolio or use different products for crypto and non-crypto assets. So they're really not just creating something new for crypto, but it looks like they're sort of trying to compete with almost like a Bloomberg terminal type of system, which is pretty huge.
Yeah, I remember you drawing that analogy when you explained them to me.
Yeah, and a Bloomberg terminal is not cheap. A Bloomberg terminal can cost at least $5,000 a month, and there's a huge market. So I think that they're penetrating a huge market. They are ICOing, and the utility of their token is so that you can buy more features within the application. And if it's distributed globally around the world, then I think that's a good utility. Mm-hmm. So I can just use that one token currency. So I think it's cool. I think it's a huge market. It's definitely a multi-billion-dollar market that they're trying to penetrate, and they have a strong team. I haven't spoken with him on the phone, but I actually, even years ago, have engaged with Bob Bonomo, who's their president, over LinkedIn, just a couple messages saying hi. And so I know he's been involved with crypto for many years, and he has a lot of Wall Street experience as a CIO and CTO. And I know that he's leading this effort. You can check out his LinkedIn. His name is Bob Bonomo. Yeah, pretty typical Italian mafia kind of name. So you should be easily able to find him. But no, definitely an experienced person that I would trust. He's not your average, 27-year-old tech star in their mom's basement starting some terminal.
What are you trying to say, Mike?
I'm saying that that's what we are, but that's not what Bob is. So it's worth looking into it. Let's see here. Is there anything else that they do that's interesting? Oh, yeah, they have a full audit trail. So actually, in a lot of hedge fund systems, when you import data into a system, let's say even you give us your API keys and then, boom, import your data. And then you see that a transaction looks wrong to you. So you edit that transaction, right? And then you delete that transaction, and then you recreate that transaction, and then you edit that transaction, and you're tailoring your portfolio. There's actually audit trails that basically keeps logs of everything changing from the moment that you started the piece of software. And sometimes you need that for compliance and legal purposes. So they also have audit trails, I know. They have compliance, this third-party ecosystem. I'm just really excited to see what they build and how different companies can integrate with them.
Yeah, it should be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And their public token sale is actually happening right now.
It's happening right now. Actually, I forget the price that they're going for right now. Let me see if I can find it. I know that they are on the Ethereum network,
Yeah, they're in
ERC20.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I forget the exact number per Ethereum, but at the end of the day, I do know that you have to be an accredited investor to do it. You have to have definitely a certain income and net worth that, prohibits a lot of people who are buying into other types of ICOs in the market.
Sure.
So
It's good to see.
yeah, and if you go on their
Some
Telegram,
degree.
I've been on their Telegram for a few weeks now. They have, I think they have over 13,000 people in that Telegram right now,
Wow.
which is pretty impressive. I'm on a lot of Discords and Telegram groups and Facebook groups, and that's really impressive. And there's a lot of people speaking often. It's active, so that's if you can afford to buy into this as an accredited investor, it's maybe just worth looking into more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely something to watch.
Yeah, and I think it's just good. I just want to look. I want to see crypto go mainstream as much as I want to see Bitcoin pump, and we're going to be chatting about coins, and I'm going to be following like good, more maybe short term investments. At the end of the day, none of that matters unless the business behind crypto starts to become more sophisticated. And it's been taking a little longer than I've hoped, but I'm glad to see projects like this because now big Wall Street money can finally start feeling comfortable coming in.
Yeah. Definitely.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah, that's Blockchain Terminal. That's something I've been watching. So what other is there?
So another one.
You told me about a cool one.
Yeah. Ethlance. So my day job is freelance software development, and I work via Upwork, which is a platform that lets freelancers doing just about anything easily find contracts and work, as well as get paid and manage that whole flow as a freelancer. So it's a pretty valuable service. I find a lot of value in it, but I've been looking for similar opportunities to freelance and get paid in crypto. Upwork does not allow crypto payments. They're pretty strict about how you get paid, and money needs to flow through them, which makes sense. They want to take their cut off the top. But yeah, Ethlance is a cool, basically Upwork for crypto, allowing freelancers and employers to interact and network. And there's a pretty decent supply of projects. I can't say that I've actually gotten a project on Ethlance yet, but it's something I'm definitely looking at frequently. And yeah, I'm excited about the prospect of getting paid in crypto. That's definitely something as a freelancer I'm open to, and yet to have the opportunity, but certainly something I'm looking for.
Yeah, Ethlance seems like a cool project. I don't know much about the team behind it, but I know they've been around for a little while and they've been running pretty smoothly.
Yeah, it's definitely a smaller project. I don't think they're ICOing or anything. And I've definitely, to be totally honest, experienced some issues with their website. I remember a week ago when we were first talking about this, their website was down. So, they're young, they're growing, but especially if you're a freelancer, it's not easy to get started. It has been a long road for me to get where I am, and it was a lot of work. So new opportunities, I think I got in at Upwork pretty early, which I think helped me a lot. I was on Upwork when it was called Odesk, and being early, having that, experience on the platform, I think makes it a lot easier for prospective clients to trust me. So when you see your stuff like this that's just popping up, it's good to make an account, create your profile, and kind of see where it leads, keep track of it, and watch it grow. So this is another one that I'm definitely keeping track of, and there's some cool stuff on there. A lot of the work that's being posted is very crypto focused, and I'm hoping that it'll grow to include non-crypto related work, but where you can still get paid in crypto. I think that ties back to what you were saying, where we really need that mainstream adoption, and this is something that can help with that.
Yeah, it could definitely get skilled, freelancers and workers to be able now to enter the crypto market and be willing to get paid in it and work with reliable projects that have some sort of future, hopefully.
Yep.
But at least make some sort of living off crypto.
Yeah, definitely.
That's cool. Ethlance. We'll link. Everything will be linked in the description, so you can check all these out.
Yeah, they don't handle any of the payment. They don't provide quite as much of a service as Upwork does, and they don't take any fee as a result. But yeah, definitely a good place to look for for jobs and to post if you need some kind of work done. Definitely trends more towards the software development kind of gigs and jobs, but I'd imagine you can do just about anything and post just about anything you need done.
And is it only Ethereum that you get paid in?
No, it's really just
okay.
they don't really handle payments at all. So like you could definitely get paid in Doge or Litecoin or whatever. It's just Ethlance.
Gotcha.
There is some component that's running on the blockchain, but it's not 100% clear what that is.
Cool. The next one is ICO Daddy. I just thought it was cool because, a site that Aaron and I just started using is called ExecRank, which is a way for companies to find advisors. And it could be a very financially intense process and emotionally, too, to find the proper advisor for your company. And ExecRank sort of makes it cheaper and faster to do that for the company, at least. It's still a little pricey for the advisor, but definitely cheaper for the company. Now, with all of these ICOs happening and ICO advisors popping up, not only are there a lot of scam ICOs, but there's also a lot of scam ICO advisors. And hopefully they don't get paired up together, because I don't know how that'll end. But ICO Daddy at least lets you see a more vetted and clear list of ICO advisors that have experience.
When you say scam ICO advisors, are you referring to like Ryan Gosling being an ICO advisor, or are you referring to
no, I think there are
real
people. I think there are people
who are
that
maliciously advising ICOs?
I think there are people maliciously advising and just in it for the quick money and then peace, and that hurts the project.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah, so
I mean, the reality is an ICO, an advisor shouldn't be getting paid, at least not until some kind of...
No, I agree. But in the ICO world, they do. I know that firsthand.
Interesting. That seems a little bit backwards.
Yeah, it definitely is.
It's not
you don't
inducing
have to
the most...
you don't have to. I mean, I've definitely seen situations where you don't get paid, but there are definitely a lot of them that are willing to pay for the right advisor.
I mean, we've learned that when you're taking on an advisor for a company, building a product, there's like a very standard table of equity that the advisor gets based on the stage the company's in and what the advisor's role is going to be and how much they're going to be contributing, and that's all pretty set in advance. There's not too much that's left up for interpretation. I feel that if you're paying an advisor to come on, the whole motivation is backwards. Their motivation does not inherently align with yours if you have to pay them to get them on board. An advisor should be willing to give some sweat equity and maybe take a hit on their time in order to help the project move forward. And payday is not the right incentive there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think the crypto market's a little more it's smaller, so it's harder to find people. Maybe that's why. And also these ICOs raise so much money up front that it's like they just offer it. I don't know. But I think the site itself is cool, and hopefully I hope it helps advisors find the right projects for them, and I hope it helps projects find the right advisors for them.
Yeah, definitely. So, for real projects that are really, ICOs aren't inherently a bad thing. They have become kind of, not the most positive influence on...
And also, this site will be completely free, so they're not taking any sort of fee from either side.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so you can go sign up, and if they like you, they'll add you to their advisor list or the company list, seeking for advisors.
Gotcha. But yeah, for those real projects, I think it's important for them to get the help they need, and a site like this that kind of puts those two different groups of people together is great.
Yeah. Cool. And then there was a couple of companies we wanted to compare, I guess, in a way. So there's Tradedash and Coinigy. I'm sorry. And then there's Coin Tracking and our company, Tradenomics. And, we'll try to do our best to do an unbiased review of these. And at the end of the day, just like the other projects we spoke about, all of these efforts, I think, really help contribute to a more fruitful ecosystem and contribute to mainstream adoption, arguably more than all of these coins.
Yeah.
Because people don't care about the coins as much as the ease of use of these coins. And if they have a medium at which they can reliably use to get hold of these coins or get hold of people involved in the community, etc., that's where all of the magic is, in my opinion. All right, so let's dig in. So I've fooled around with Coinigy before. We can start with them.
Sure.
And then we could also compare them to Tradedash.
I think Coinigy is the biggest, probably one of the biggest,
live trading
Yeah.
platform. And we've spoken with their founders, Derek and William, and they're definitely dedicated guys. They've been around. I remember I spoke to Derek initially, even like 2 years ago, when they were a much smaller company, and whether when they were small versus when they were now with tens of thousands of users potentially, they have the same attitude and the same work ethic. They haven't been going downhill at all, and they are funded. So they have raised around probably 600 grand or so in total. I think it was one $100,000 ish round and one $500,000 ish round, which at least gives some sort of comfort to the users that they have runway, if whether or not they are profitable.
Yeah.
So the upsides to Coinigy. I'm sorry, I keep saying Coinigy, but Coinigy is actually the proper pronunciation, I believe, from when we've spoken with the founders. Upsides to Coinigy, certainly the number of exchange integrations. They're integrated with well over 40 exchanges, I believe.
I think it's more than that even.
Yeah.
I'm not finding a number, but yeah,
Which is huge
quite a few.
because
All the big boys.
Because that's honestly the biggest objection when it comes to these data aggregation or live trading platforms is like, oh, you're only integrated with GDEX, but I also want to trade on Cryptopia and this and that and that, and Coinigy is there for you for that. Also, they have a very reliable support team. I know that they get a lot of tickets and you would have to wait a little bit, but they do eventually get it with you. And I know firsthand that they are working very hard on that, and that's something they care a lot about. And they're very responsive on Twitter, social media. That's one avenue you can reach out to them. Now, some drawbacks to Coinigy, I guess, is that I've heard that their order books can be a little delayed when they represent Bitrex's order book or the charts. That might have something to do with because they're a web-based application and not like a desktop application. Most live trading platforms are desktop applications, actually, not like web-based.
Yeah, so there's some advantages there, but in this day and age, there's really no reason why a desktop application would lead for in that kind of a case. Desktop applications are going to exceed when you're doing processor intensive stuff. If you're doing video editing or you're doing graphic design or stuff like that, but a web browser will never handle any of that as well as a native app. But for a trading platform, I don't personally see any reason why you couldn't make a web application function just as well as a native app. But there's something to be said for what the user expects and the user experience there. There's definitely some browser limitation you could face where you're not necessarily limited in that way by making a native app, but I think it could go either way there.
Yeah, and then also, I think they're planning on making like their own sort of aggregated exchange in the future, and so they're very involved in the crypto community.
Yeah.
Overall, I would give them a good rating. They have a lot of users. They handle a large amount of users, but there are some downsides with the order books, the accuracy of the order books. And then also I've heard, I haven't ran into this firsthand, but I've heard that you can only send orders in full integers. You can't send like a 1.357.
Yeah, I remember hearing this as well, but I think we heard that it was due to some exchanges not allowing.
Some exchanges.
Yeah, it's annoying, but again,
it's not their limitation.
As the developer, I have to defend them in some ways because a lot of this stuff is a limitation actually on the exchange, and it comes across as if it's an issue with the service you're using, but in reality, the service is just handling the situation as best they can.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. Now, on the other hand, I spoke with the founders of another company called Tradedash. And Tradedash is a competitor of Coinigy, pretty blatantly and straight up. That's what it is. Their two founders' names is Wissam and Linus. And I had a call with them. I've had a couple conversations with them, and they are moving along well. They're currently in beta, and I personally like their user experience a lot. They are a desktop-based application.
They added Binance trading.
Cool. And they have Bittrex trading, I believe.
Yeah.
One upside to them, I believe, from a security standpoint that they told me and what they touted was that since they are a desktop-based application, they are more secure with holding users' API keys because they are not even holding their API keys. It's just stored locally on their machine, on their computer.
Yeah, that's cool. That's definitely a big plus.
So that's a big plus. And yeah, I don't know. And they said that their WebSockets and the speed of their order books work really well on desktop too, which is a big upside. I've fooled around with their application. The desktop app is really cool. You could set up like where you want like sidebars to be, and it has a very clean feel, cleaner than Coinigy. Coinigy has a more traditional dark black feel, which is good for a lot of traders. But I personally like the more open space, whiter feel, and that's what Tradedash is going for. And I know that they're working on some really cool partnerships, and they're working on really cool dashboards for price discovery and analyzing the market. So they're currently in beta. Worth checking them out as well if you're interested in the live trading sphere. If you use Coinigy, you can look at Tradedash. Both Linus and Wissam are very nice guys. Oh, happy to chat. I'm sure if you can get in touch with them on LinkedIn or something.
So something we didn't talk about is pricing, comparing these two.
Right.
So is there cost to TradeDash? Because I know Coinigy...
Right now they do not. Right now they have not released one. It will be a paid for product, I believe.
Gotcha.
Of course. Coinigy is
just shy of $20 a month.
Yeah.
And I think they have like a deal if you bill annually, whatever. But it's around $18, $19 a month. So do you have any idea what they intend to charge for TradeDash?
I did not get that far with them. I do know that they intend to be in their beta for the foreseeable future. And they're just happy with their growing community and the feedback. And then once they're comfortable with some number and some package, that's when they'll release it. But I have no idea.
Cool.
So I think,
definitely something to check out while they're free then.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen users say that they're very happy using Tradedash, and I've seen people tweeting, like, check them out, and they have a growing community, and they keep in touch with the community, often releasing notes on their blog and such. So Coinigy definitely has the upper hand in terms of number of exchange integrations. But, other than that, I think Tradedash is open to compete. Like, if you trade only on Binance, I'm curious to hear who you think you would pick, Coinigy or Tradedash, for example. Yeah. But if you're trading on 20 exchanges, Coinigy is probably the route to go, for sure. So they're in the live trading sphere. Now, you and me are on the other side of things, right? We're in the more the portfolio management sphere, trade management, right? So for users watching, there's a difference. It's very important to be able to trade in a manner that's suitable for you and that you feel comfortable with, and if speed matters, and being able to view multiple exchanges on one platform matters, then definitely live trading is an important part of the industry. But on the other hand, as you're doing all these live trades, you need a system to track all of your trades, calculate your profit loss, allow you to spit out certain reports, maybe tax reports. There's a whole other side of this than just the live trading. So we're going to talk about, I guess, what we're working on in addition to coin tracking, which is one of the more used pieces of software. They've been around since like 2013 with a pretty dedicated team, and they do cool stuff. And even different than us. We somewhat compete, but also kind of don't. So coin tracking is a company that has been around since 2013, judging by their Bitcoin Talk forum, and they have thousands of users, and they're integrated with many exchanges, like well over 15, I believe, which is a lot to be integrated with from the portfolio management point of view. And we're back. So we were talking about coin tracking. Like I said, they have many different exchange integrations, which is huge.
Yeah.
But the downsides that I've ran into as someone coming from the more traditional financial space, and I've used a lot of different reporting portals and portfolio management systems, is that their reports and data was not as accurate and easy to read as I'd like, or nearly as well.
Yeah. So my takeaway has always been that, they seem like smart guys. They've been doing this for a long time, but they don't seem to have a focus or prioritize their user experience. And it's pretty awful, to be like really, really blunt. And this is going to come across a little biased, obviously, but I think that the functionality they provide is great, and there's a tremendous depth to it, but the quality of that UX just leaves something to be desired.
Yeah. So a couple of things to think about when you're using the portfolio management system, right? So we import you use a system, you import your data. Now there's some initial deposits onto your exchange, right? And a system doesn't know what you paid for those initial coins. Okay, so to give a little backstory, let's say you bought a Bitcoin on Coinbase a year ago for $600. Then you go and deposit that Bitcoin on Bittrex. And you do some trades, yada, yada, yada. 6 months later, you say, oh, I want to buy a system that can tell me my portfolio and calculate my historical trades, etc. So you go and you integrate just your Bittrex stuff, not your Coinbase stuff, because you don't do much on there and you don't really care to integrate it, let's say. So you integrate your Bittrex stuff. The system pulls your data, and we see this initial deposit for Bitcoin on Bittrex, but we don't know what the US dollar amount that you paid for that is. Now, when I've used coin tracking, they did not push to the user, or they did not emphasize cost basis, which is very important. So when I was looking at my profit loss, I was like, it's close, but it's a little off. And then I also saw some other things that looked off, which I'll explain. But concerning just cost basis, they don't emphasize that. And you have to understand how to go into your trades and which trade it is to enter an average price in. It's a very tedious process. And if you're a newer investor, you probably would have a very hard time figuring out that that's your issue, because you're just going to assume that they know. Now, compare that to the system that we're building. The downside to the system that we're building compared to coin tracking, in my opinion, and the biggest objection that we get from our users, is just strictly the number of exchanges that we're integrated with, which is an ongoing process, and it's something we're working on. We're currently integrated with Bittrex, Poloniex, GDAX, and Kraken, while coin tracking is integrated with those plus another 15 or so, which is huge. I get why some users like that. But our focus is coming from a background with real financial knowledge. So we understand cost basis, we understand how to really calculate a portfolio, include fees on everything, and a better workflow. So in our system, when you import your data, right upon importing it, we show you the data we imported, and there's all these big clear buttons that say enter cost basis for your initial few deposits. You enter that in and you're good to go. Another downside is that in the traditional market, there's these things called corporate actions. A corporate action is basically a fancy word for an event happening to a stock. So a stock might split, where you're getting twice as many shares but still the same market value, or might have a 1.2 split, or it might get merged, or a ticker change, change of symbol, all these little corporate action things. So
like Google becoming Alphabet.
Exactly. So what I like to call one example of a corporate action in the crypto sphere is hard forks. And when I integrated my data on coin tracking, I noticed that I wasn't holding Bitcoin Cash, or I didn't have a balance. I didn't have an open position for Bitcoin Cash when I should have. And it took me hours to figure out why and why and when to add that transaction. Because you have to know when Bittrex, for example, delivered that Bitcoin Cash to you and how much. And it wasn't easy for me to figure that out. So we learned from coin tracking, and we started building a database and a function called scan for hard forks. So we actually have a growing database that keeps track of when different coins, at which blocks different coins hard forked, and then when different exchanges delivered those hard forked coins to the users. When you do that, our system automatically creates a transaction for you on your behalf, and it's very easy to find. We label it like this is not an automated, imported automatically, and you can always edit or delete that transaction if you please. But all of these little things of tracking cost basis, we're working on tracking cost basis between in and out transfers and hard fork functionality. We want to make it where right when you import, your portfolio is just good to go as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
While coin tracking and us, you may have to do similar events. You have to import your data. You have to enter some cost basis. You might have to edit a hard fork delivery. The difference is that we don't make you have to figure all that out. We kind of walk you through it quickly, and you have to go through the onboarding process. It's not always the most fun thing, but it is what it is in this industry, and it's something you have to go with any piece of software.
Yeah, that's not unique to us or coin tracking, or
no.
That's an unfortunate necessity.
So it comes down to a workflow thing, and then also our reports are better. We actually show grand totals. We normalize your data properly. You can export to Excel, and we're the only system where you could do something as simple as see a historical balance. We're the only system where you can actually run reports within a date range. What's my realized gain loss in this date range? And you pick the two dates, and you select some other parameters, and you hit generate, and it's a much more sophisticated platform in some ways.
But also, we prioritize heavily ease of use, which I think you were getting at,
Yeah, exactly.
and that user experience, which I think is what coin tracking is missing out on the most.
Exactly. So I would say upside to coin tracking is their depth and number of exchange integrations. Upside to Tradenastics is that what they built, while it might have less exchange integrations, works better and has a smoother user experience. I believe that it's easier for Tradenastics to work on just integrating more exchanges while they already do what they do and are on the UX path that they're on, versus coin tracking redoing the whole UX.
Yeah, coin tracking is in need of a major overhaul.
There's something to be said for when you're already a full-fledged company running with thousands of users, you're not as flexible, which is a downside. So it's interesting though, but at the end of the day, it's great to have competition. It's great to see Tradedash and Coinigy. It's great to see Ethlance and Coinality is another one, and it's great to see even Blockchain Terminal in some ways competing with Coinigy as well. Competition is healthy. It proves that there's a market and it proves that there's a need. So yeah.
Yeah, competition makes everyone better.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, short summary, I think those are some cool projects that we've been looking at and that we keep track of. And, we'll link them in the description. But overall, I still stand by that I love these coins. I love investing. I have fun following the markets. But at the end of the day, it's the business side that pushes the industry forward.
Yeah, and I think that...
Not the latest and greatest blockchain coin.
Yeah, it hasn't been deliberate, but I think that has been a theme that we've definitely followed throughout Cryptenomics.
It's true. We like to talk about the concepts and the business side.
Yeah, but the business side is just so important in order to push the industry forward, in order to get that mainstream adoption. We need these companies to, be out there doing what they do. So
Exactly.
It's all good stuff.
Yep. Yeah. If there's any other projects you guys want us to analyze or check out, let us know in the comments. We'll take a look, let you know what we think. If there's any projects or founders of projects you want us to interview, let us know. We're pretty well connected in the industry. I've spoken with different founders, from the CEO of Bittrex to the founders of Coinigy to the founders of Tradedash. I've briefly had messages with Bob Bonomo, so we can get in touch with people. We've been in the space for a while. Let us know. Happy to engage that conversation with whomever.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Thanks very much, guys.
Chat soon.